Too long, no time for a disclaimer. This is Homestuck Beyond Canon in Sarcastic Summary, Part 3. In Meet Universe, Terezi Pyrope has a silly little nostalgic breakdown before having a heart-to-heart with her dead wallet boyfriend and kicking this bucket creature into orbit. Dirk Strider tells her to stop being extra and get with the program already, and also take a look at this creature he made. Also, dead Teen Jade is dead. Again. Meanwhile, in Candy Universe, John Egbert somehow loses his way in the meteor and runs into Solix's captor. John realizes that he's a jealous person, and kind of sucks whenever he's off screen. Solix, despite only meeting John twice before this, concurs, adding that even though John was married, he still had no game. And speaking of game, could you switch the Nintendo 64 cartridge on the way out? We continue in Candy with Vrissy, Miriam Lalonde, and Vriska Surket, recreating some of the old MSPA days before escaping prison using the former's weakened manipulation powers. Vrissy is slowly realizing Vriska is kind of the worst, after her predecessor keeps calling her fake and when she needs help getting into the vents. You literally have wings, Vriska! Vrissy escapes in the back of a truck after making a sweet jump over the side of the rails to avoid the guards. Meanwhile, Vriska overhears Jane Crocker, who, feeling betrayed by Roxy Lalonde, plans to surround the meteor and take the mysterious point by force. Upon hearing this, Jake English calls Mina Pages and Roxy to discuss the Resistance next move. Turns out the two women have beef because one is playing the Peacemaker long game and the other ruined her son's birthday party with Prawn. Jane also calls Jake, abruptly putting the previous conversation on hold. At the same time, Vriska vents to the outside and reunites with John, where she proceeds to roast him on everything he ever cared about during the last decade, like the Omega Kids, or thinking that John Roxy was ever viable. Both of her takes are poor, in my opinion. Back in Meet Universe, we reunite with Dead Tier Calliope, freshly kicked out of both of her Jade Harley cosplays. Aradia Megiddo and Candy Dave Strider react accordingly. The two time players talk about their aspects, how they're kind of overpowered, and are a little bored by that. After a little mindfulness, Calliope returns to her dead Teen Jade body, where her two companions pretend that they weren't goofing around too much. Back in Candy Universe, a few hours in the past, Harry Anderson Egbert stands alone in his room. After captchalogging his stuffed rabbit, shuffling through some cool bandanas, and ditching his satchel, he decides to sneak out of the house because he thinks his parents are making the bed move. But in a different way. He tries to contact Vrissy with a wall of needy texts, and when that doesn't work, he messages his teenage uncle, Tavros Crocker, about it. Tavros is currently experiencing next month's update and tells Harry that he should stop spamming their mutual girlfriend. Harry instead decides to keep pestering Vrissy until she actually responds. Harry thinks Vriska sucks, but Vrissy is still willing to stick with the hero worship a little longer, and the two reunite with Tavros and half the parent group. An hour in the past, Yiffy Longstocking Lalonde Harley gets smothered by motherly affection, revealing that she's jealous of Tavros because his mother doesn't give a crap about him. And what will her friends think after seeing her hug her two mommies on TV? Grody. Anyway, Rosemary, starring Jade Harley, have a little chat concerning the 15+ years secret child that Kanaya didn't know about. Jade tries to play the sympathetic villain card, and Rose the "you'll forgive me anyway" card, but Kanaya just tells them both to shut up. They are unable to finish this discussion because the weight of two eavesdropping kids is too much for the overhead vents on the ship, with Tavros almost knocking his sister's ex-husband out her inventory. Meanwhile in Meet, Roxy turns into a serial snooze ninja, knocking out Kanaya and Jade in order to talk to Meet Calliope in what we assume are Deltritus' dream bubbles. They all meet at a door that leads to a representation of the fandom post-canon, only to be ambushed by Dead Tier Calliope. Or Al, as she wants to be referred to. Turns out Al is unamused by the insanity that is post-canon, and wants to get back to some kind of order. She also takes umbrage at being compared to Dirk, and wakes everybody in the meeting up. On Deltritus, Dirk shows off his sweet server room before rendering himself in a more age-appropriate manner and meeting back up with Terezi, who tells him to stop boring the readers. Dirk and Rose have created their Deltritians and are about to F off for 10,000 years, while Terezi is to supervise their development. But she doesn't care about Deltritans at all, guys. at all. Don't get it twisted. Dirk sees right through her BS, telling her that he knows about that John-shaped carcass in her pocket, which causes her to storm off. Dirk and Rose proceed to have a heart-to-heart moment that borders on incestual, but like, this is just the norm for post-canon, dog. I ain't even blinking an eye at this. Back in Candy, we see Karkat aged up as he and Mina head to the point with their elite combat unit, the Lobsters. Karkat is grateful to have Mina by his side the last decade, and Mina gets him to vent about his Dave trauma. Solix also calls in, asking Karkat to get him some food. Spoilers, he does not. During her phone call with Jake, it's revealed that Jane's grown paranoid of others and even distant to her own son, realizing she doesn't even know his allergies anymore. She apologizes for being a lot lately and promises to do better, and also that she has a moon laser aimed right for the meteor before hanging up. Before he disappears, potentially forever, Brain Ghost Dirk tells Jake to kill Jane. Not sure what's more concerning, that the Homestuck team allegedly wrote a parody of the Jewish space laser conspiracy theory into the comic and connected it to Jane, who the characters are actively trying to kill. Or that they made Jane self-reflect and apologize for her actions in this scene, only to still try to kill her multiple times after this. John and Vriska meet up with Roxy, and the two human parents realize that they didn't know where Harry was the last couple hours. Oh well, I'm sure he's fine. The point is finally revealed to be a Juju arch. If you've played Hive Swap, this is the third one you've seen. Technically, the arch is keeping the point, a mini black hole, in place. Good thing Vriska's there to be a Mary Sue about it. She just enters the point without listening to Calliope's warnings at all. The fun part is that no one, not even Calliope, knows what interacting with the point will do or where it will lead. Turns out it's hell, aka Elsewhere, aka page 666. Appropriately called the visual novel, we spend the next 7 updates in a RenP game, where Vriska encounters the significant players of her past, working through her traumas with the help of the sprites. It all leads up to Vriska needing to forgive her past self from the original Homestuck timeline, which she does not want to do. Also, we have a section where Jasper Rose Sprite hints at the writers continuing the Diamonds and Dads / Catnap side plots off screen, teaching Meat Universe Jane how to be a better leader, while also dodging Dad Crocker and Diamonds Droog. Back in Candy Universe, Rose and Jade get into an argument since their conversation with Kanaya did not manipulate her well enough. Rose has reached full-blown nihilism, knowing a la light powers that she's going to get shot in the head and put into a coma for a few years, and all this garbage she played a part in will have blown over. Kanaya meets up with Karkat and Mina, posing really cool for the camera. Also, Jake shoots Jane in the head. Wow. Bullet doesn't kill her, causing the Maid of Life to pistol whip Jake and make a social media reference that's sure to age like milk. I don't know if this is supposed to be a triumphant use their own words against them moment, or if I should be concerned for the team's mental health. Are you okay? Either way, Jane tosses Jake's barely living body and goes off with new determination to destroy the point. Meanwhile, Tavros and Yiffy ditch Harry and Vrissy in the most backhanded, polite way possible to join in the upcoming battle. Vrissy ain't having that, deciding that it's Yiffy's fault that her mother's marriage is falling apart. Rose intercepts the kids when they leave the ship, right before Jade gets a sniper shot to the head. Jane also attempts to blast the meteor sky high with her Crocker space laser. Meanwhile, on Deltritus, one of Rose or Dirk's creations is revealed to be a Discord mutual with Vrissy, not so subtly hinting that they want the troll to join their friend group's Spurb session. One Christmas break later, Terezi reunites with Dirk and Rose, ready to jump into the main meat of the story. Terezi especially can sense the shift in the Candy storyline happening and even seems to be growing attached to Deltritus and the player species. She may even be having fun? But she gets super mad when the Strylons gaslight her into holding Dirk's hand for no reason. Then the big effing sound page happens. The battle for the point. Some highlights include Karkat potentially killing Jack Noir, Tavros kicking a missile, Jade reviving and killing a bunch of clone soldiers, Dave's corpse getting thrown at Karkat, Jake's hope powers burning off his clothes, the Point getting nuked, and Mina and Jane continually killing and reviving this one pair of traumatized soldiers to the point where they just go AWOL. The real kicker is that Vriska finally forgives herself and reaches a new level of godhood called Hell Tier, and returns to Candy several years older and wiser. She uses this newfound strength to decapitate Jane and rescue Rose from that promised much-desired bullet to the brain. The Point's explosion causes John to think about Toblerone wishes. Meanwhile, Jane is still alive, but is just ahead at this point. While the adults argue about the best way to kill Jane permanently, Vriska drops the bomb that Candy Universe has been fun, but it's narratively useless, and it's going to die a painful death soon. She's willing to take her friends and their kids to Deltritus just in time to play Spurb, but all the adults, sans John, collectively hate that idea, and want to keep having arguments among themselves instead. On the other hand, the Omega Kids are down and get Peter Panned out of Candy by Vriska before their parents can stop it. Kinda crazy that the Candy Universe is canonically confirmed to be Meet Calliope's fanfic. Karkat applauds Calliope for writing a fic that is somehow the most relatable thing he's ever read, but also tells them to never show it to anyone else ever again. The Meet Universe gets Vriska'd, as even the ship headed for Deltritus gets hit by her entry to canon post-canon. Wait, when did Jane and Jake get here? And that's what happened last time in Homestuck Beyond Canon!
Hey there. Consider becoming a patron, just like the phenomenal Alexandra Modelon, Ashley, and Heart's Remedy.